If we start with the arms, make sure that the fingers are fully extended outwards, and then close them over at the top and then at the bottom, and that will give you enough clearance to get the fist into the section. Open up this flap and then roll that back. Close up the flap again. Next, you need to rotate the whole arm on the bicep swivel. These are quite stiff when you first do it. Then take the paw and you're going to rock this round to the bottom of what will be the front leg. As you do this section here, you want to just pull these a little bit and rock them forward, and then that will allow the paw to move fully down to the underside. And just to note, all of these are very sharp, by the way. Repeat this on the other side. Round at the back, just make sure that this is untabbed. It will just help for the next section. Round at the front, if you take the tiger head, extend this up and just bring this out of the way for the second. Now for this front red chest piece is going to detach slightly. It doesn't come very far out. It's on a little connection down here, and it can actually pop out. It did on mine, but it's a C-clip and it will clip back in, so don't panic if that happens. So bring this out, and then these orange sections, these are going to come out slightly, rock down, and then move onto the next notch. They're quite stiff, but they do move. Oh, there we go, it pops out as predicted. But you can actually see here now that you're moving from this groove down to this one, and similarly on here as well. Now I will point out, actually, while this is open, I was going to show this in another at the end, but on here on mine, this orange section has actually cracked in there. Now I don't know if that was there initially or if it's just as a result of this section working forward, because that screw in there, I think, is part of the hinge that allows this whole section to move. So just a point of note there, stuff is very tight on this figure, and there are places where I think stress marks appear because of that. For the head, bring this whole section forward and take out these yellow flaps on the side. Take the robot head and move it back out the way, turn it 180, and you can tuck that under there now. Next, bring up the tiger head, and this tab here is going to slot into this section in the yellow tab, so you can just close those over onto there and it will just slide in. Now this next section is interesting because you're going to move this bit forward, but this bit has to turn backwards when you do it, and it's easier on mine because I've done this a couple of times. So bring this forward, and then that whole section you've got to move back, so you can see that ball peg rolled back. Now this is very tight at first, so what I'd recommend is actually when you first do this, if yours is tight, you can pop this off and then you can maneuver this so that you're not putting any stress on this yellow section when you make that move. So what you should end up with is this, and move this out of the way. This piece will be vertical out from the body, if you like. Then bring this back, and you see these two tabs here are going to go into these slots on that yellow piece there, and what that will do is just close off the top of the neck. So moving on to the legs, this is where it's going to get more fun, if you like. So just start by taking this red section and moving it downwards, then untab this orange panel and move it out to the side. Next, you want to take this red panel, and it's on a ball and a swivel at this point, and just bring it up and angle that up out the way for now. Next, you're going to bring this whole section out, and you're going to turn it around like this, so it's out here. Now what I'd recommend before you do this the first time is to just loosen this screw a little bit. When I first did this, all of this is super tight and squeaky, and it puts a lot of pressure because there's, I think, 3 or 4 different swivels on here for bits you have to move around if you just loosen this a couple of turns, it makes everything so much easier. So once that's this section's brought out, you're going to take this red piece and you're going to move that back so that it's on the inside. And you can hear actually it's still quite tight, that. So bring that out back there, and then this section is going to roll back around this way so that it fills in this gap. So just move that outer leg bit like so, and then you can see that will now fill back that gap. So you've taken all of this that was inside the leg and brought it out, and taken the bit that was outside the leg and brought it in. Once you've done all that, you need to angle this piece back out again, just so that it creates basically a clearance in the leg for the next bit, where this is all going to rotate upwards, Combiner Wars style almost. So before you do the next bit, just make sure you have a little bit of clearance all around the leg. So this bit of the tail up, the side skirt up there as well, and this up a little bit. It will push on this, but don't worry, there's a little bit of flexibility there. So next you're going to take the leg and you're going to rotate this all the way around. You'll then have to bring the animal leg out the way. You're going to have to move this as you go along. Flip it 180, and then you're going to, on the inside of here, get this hinge and move that to the back, so that when you rotate all of that, it basically collapses the leg upwards, so it's folded up like that. So same again for the other leg. We're going to take this bit, bring it out to the side and move it up and out of the way. Take the red section at the back, bring that out, bring all of this outwards, outside of the leg, tilt this back, then you can bring this section in, and you're going to take all of this stuff, maneuver it out to the side so that you've got the animal leg on the outside of this whole section. And you can bring that down and bring this red tab now back around to the top. Give yourself clearance on the inside, so you've got the gap to do the big leg maneuver. Make sure your flaps are out the way. Rotate this round and Combiner Wars it up. Bring the animal leg out the way just to give yourself clearance to do that. And there you go. So you can probably see where this is going to go now. There's a tab on the inside here that's going to connect the two legs together. We're going to bring these flaps down onto here to close up the side, and then on the underside these pieces here are going to come over and tab into the legs to close all of that off. So before we do all of that, we just need to get the tail sorted. So the first time you do this, this is rock solid, the connection, and you're going to need a spudger to untab all of that. But basically bring all of that out, straighten the tail out, and then you're going to make sure, if you can see under here, there's just a couple of yellow bits that it's going to connect in. It's not a tab, but it just sort of slots the tail into place on the back. So bring that down, line it all up, and then you can go ahead and, see under there, squeeze the legs together. So you can see they're connected up like that. Next up, we're going to close up the underside. So there is a gap in here, and you can see the shape of it there that's going to tab onto this section here. Now the awkward bit about this is that you're going to maneuver this down on this joint, and there's not really the pressure kind of to do that, so you just have to kind of force it down. Also, one thing to note, this section here needs to be up because you're going to pop that underneath there. So the easiest way is just turn it like that, and then you can just maneuver it down on that hinge under here. Bring it around to there, and you can kind of see that this is what I'm talking about. This is you need to push in such a way that you're going to turn that hinge in there as you do it, and it'll just allow that to press down like that. Same process on the other side. Close all of that off, and then you're going to take these, which I think these were on these are the kneecaps on the bot mode, and you just push those down. Closes off the bottom there. And then if you come back around to the side, move the animal legs out the way, and this is on a ball, remember, in there, and it's on a joint. Bring it round, line it up so that tab lines up with that slot, and then you can just clip that into place, and that just clips the sides in. So now onto the back legs. You need to take this piece here, and you're going to turn it all around on that ball peg, and you're going to move it up, and it's going to sit on the top of the leg like that, and it doesn't tab in, it just kind of sits on there, so that's fine. Then move the foot out of the way a little bit, open up the back of the calf, bring this section out, and then bring it down. Then this little piece here, this is actually a tab that you bring out, and it just closes off that gap on the leg. And on the inside there's a similar tab as well, so you need to pull it out of here and just rock it round to close off that gap on the leg. Moving back around, this section here you bring out like that, so it comes out and turns into a proper tiger leg, as it were. Move this back round again, this red section, and then you can close off that gap. And all of this is part of the articulation, but that's the basic shape then of the leg. For the foot, it's pretty much done actually. All you need to do is take what was the front of the robot foot, give it a little tilt if you like, and then you're just going to rock it up, and that just sits on the back of the calf like that. So that's the final leg configuration for Tiger mode. And once you've done that, there you have it, the finished alt mode.